The space station floated above a blue planet like a silent silver moon. Inside it, hundreds of alien researchers moved through white corridors filled with the hum of machines. Among them was Tirasha, a young alien scientist known for her cold logic and endless curiosity. She had come to study humans, the strange, unpredictable species that survived almost anything. Tirasha had spent months observing their habits, but today something truly confused her. Through the observation glass, she watched a group of humans sitting inside a sealed chamber filled with hot vapor. The screen displayed the temperature, 100 degrees Celsius. To her kind, that was death. Yet the humans sat there, eyes closed, calm and relaxed. Some even smiled. Steam rolled over their bare skin, shining like liquid fire, and still they seemed peaceful. She turned to her assistant, another alien named Korath. "They are boiling themselves," she said, her voice flat with disbelief. "Why do they not scream?" Korath shook his head. "They call it a sauna. They say it is pleasant." "Pleasant?" Tirasha repeated. Her pale eyes narrowed as she tried to process the idea. Heat at this level destroys cellular stability. It causes dehydration, pain, and death. But the humans were not dying. The largest of them, a man named Captain Daniel, was even laughing. He poured more water on the hot stones, making the steam rise thicker and hotter. His skin flushed red, but his expression stayed peaceful. Tirasha's scientific mind could not accept it. Humans had always fascinated her, how they thrived in extremes, how they smiled during suffering. They breathed smoke on volcanic planets, walked through storms, and found comfort in chaos. She had read reports, but seeing it with her own eyes was different. Later, she reviewed the footage again and again, slowing it down, studying every detail. Her sensors recorded rising heart rates, heavy breathing, and extreme heat exposure, yet none of the humans panicked. Instead, they talked softly, sharing stories and laughing through the heat. Something in that room made them stronger. Something invisible that science could not measure. Tirasha felt a strange pull she could not explain. Her kind avoided emotions. They saw them as primitive, distracting. But watching the humans, she felt a small flicker of curiosity that was not just scientific. It was personal. The next day, she approached Captain Daniel in the research bay. He was adjusting a power relay with his sleeves rolled up, humming an old Earth tune. "Captain," she said, her voice calm, "I have observed your heat ritual. May I ask, why do you do this?" Daniel smiled without looking up. "You mean the sauna? It helps us relax, makes the body stronger and the mind clear." Tirasha tilted her head. "By nearly boiling yourself alive?" He laughed softly. "You see heat as danger. We see it as cleansing. When the body sweats, the mind lets go of the noise. You should try it sometime." Her thin brows rose. "I am not built for such environments." "Neither were we," Daniel said, standing straight now. His blue eyes met hers, full of warmth she could not understand. "But we learned. That's the human way." Those words stayed with her long after he left. That night, she sat in her lab, watching steam curl from a small test chamber. Her instruments displayed endless numbers, but none of them explained what she had seen. Her hand hovered over the control panel. The thought formed slowly, dangerously. What if she tried it? Every rational part of her screamed no. Her species' bodies were cold adapted. They thrived in icy worlds. Exposure to such heat could melt the outer membrane of their skin. It was foolish, even suicidal. Yet the question would not leave her mind. By the next day, she had made her decision. She called Daniel. "I wish to understand," she said simply. He blinked in surprise. "You mean, you want to try the sauna?" She nodded once. "For science." When she entered the steam chamber, the air hit her like fire. Her breath caught instantly, her body trembling. The heat felt alive, crawling into her lungs and under her skin. She wanted to run, but Daniel's voice broke through the haze. "Breathe slow." "Let it happen," she tried. Every inhale burned. Every exhale shook her chest. Her vision blurred and her sensors screamed warnings. But then, through the pain, she felt something. Her heartbeat. It was strong, louder than she had ever heard it. Her people were born in silence. Their hearts beat faintly, their emotions muted. But now, for the first time, she felt warmth moving through her veins like a living force. The heat no longer hurt, it pulsed, steady and powerful. Daniel smiled gently. "See, it's not about the heat. It's about facing it," she did not answer. She could not. Her body glowed faintly under the vapor. the blue of her skin deepening to a strange living color. Her mind filled with a rush of sensations she had never known. Fear, pain, then something new. Comfort. When she finally stepped out, steam rolling off her like a living mist, every alien in the corridor froze. Her eyes shone brighter than before. The scientists whispered in confusion. Tirasha only looked down at her trembling hands. They were warm. Truly warm. For the first time in her life, she understood what humans meant when they said alive. And in that moment, without realizing it, something inside her changed forever. The next morning, Tirasha awoke with her heart still pounding. It was slower now, but it had not faded. The warmth she felt in the steam chamber lingered inside her, faint but steady like a small fire refusing to die. She looked at her reflection in the metal wall. Her pale skin had taken on a soft glow, her veins faintly pulsing with color. She blinked in disbelief. Her species was not supposed to change like this. When she stepped into the corridor, every alien who passed her stopped and stared. Some whispered, others backed away. Their kind was built for the cold, their blood thick like liquid frost. To see one of them glowing with warmth was unnatural. Korath met her outside the lab, his eyes wide. "Tirasha, what happened to you?" "I do not know," she said quietly. "But I am not the same." He pointed at her hands. "Your temperature is unstable. You must report this to the council before—" "I will not," she interrupted, her tone calm but firm. "They will not understand." That day she returned to her laboratory and began scanning her body. The readings made no sense. Her cells were producing new forms of energy, converting the heat she had absorbed into something organic. Her nervous system showed increased activity, her heart rate stronger than ever. It was as if her entire biology had awakened. Daniel visited her later, carrying a tray of human food. "You look different," he said, smiling. "In a good way. I feel strange," she admitted. "The heat remains in me. It does not fade." He nodded. "You adapted. Your body learned from the experience." Tirasha studied him. "Is that what humans do? Adapt to pain?" He chuckled softly. "It's what we do best. Every scar, every burn, every fall teaches us something new. We grow from what hurts us." She thought about that long after he left. Her people avoided pain at all costs. Their entire civilization was built around comfort and control. But humans seemed to move toward discomfort, as if it gave them meaning. Later that night, Tirasha found herself restless. She walked to the observation deck where the stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass. Her hands pressed against the cold surface, and she realized something. The chill that once comforted her now felt empty. She missed the warmth. Without permission, she entered the sauna chamber again. The room was silent, the stones cold, but she activated the heater herself. The machine hummed, the temperature rising quickly. The first wave of heat hit her face, and her body responded immediately, her pulse quickening. This time she did not tremble. She welcomed it. Minutes passed. Her breathing steadied, her mind cleared. She felt alive in a way that frightened her. The heat moved through her like a voice whispering something she could not yet understand. When the door opened suddenly, Daniel stood there with wide eyes. "You came back?" "Yes," she said simply. "I needed to feel it again." He stepped inside beside her. "Careful, you might outlast me this time." They both laughed softly. The sound surprised her. It was light, easy, human. She had heard laughter before, but never from her own throat. It echoed in her chest, bright and strange. When they left the chamber, Tirasha's steps felt lighter. But outside, waiting for them, was a group of council observers. Their eyes were cold, their faces expressionless. Tirasha of the Third Ring, one said, "You have violated safety protocol. You exposed yourself to dangerous human practices without clearance." Daniel stepped forward. "It's harmless. She's fine." "Silence, human," the officer snapped. "This is not your concern." Tirasha met their gaze calmly. "It was my decision. I wanted to understand." "And you will be contained for analysis," the officer replied sharply. Two guards moved toward her. Daniel tried to block them. "She's not a test subject." One of the guards shoved him back. "Move aside." Tirasha lifted a hand, and before anyone could react, a wave of heat pulsed from her body. It was not fire, not visible, but everyone felt it. The air shimmered, and the guards staggered back, gasping. Their scanners overloaded, sparks flying from their belts. She looked down at her hands, shocked. She had not meant to do it. The energy had burst out of her instinctively. Daniel stared at her, speechless. "Tarasha," he whispered, "what did you just do?" I do not know." Her voice trembled. "It happened on its own." The council guards retreated, afraid. The lead officer stared at her, anger mixing with fear. "You are contaminated," he said coldly. "Human contact has corrupted your nature. You are to be isolated immediately." They turned and left, their steps echoing down the corridor. The silence that followed was heavy. Daniel approached slowly. "You have power now." "Real power," she shook her head. "No, I have only what I learned from the heat." "It changed me," he smiled faintly. "Maybe that's what scares them." Tarasha looked through the window at the distant planet below. Her reflection showed eyes that no longer looked purely alien. There was something human in them now, something alive. "Perhaps," she said softly, "but I am not afraid." For the first time she understood why humans faced pain willingly. In the burning air she had found something deeper than science, something her people had forgotten long ago. As the stars shimmered around the silent station, Tarasha felt her warmth spreading stronger inside her. Whatever was happening, she knew it was only the beginning. The following days on the station felt tense. Rumors about Tarasha's transformation spread through every corridor. Scientists whispered that she had lost her mind, that the human heat had damaged her brain, that she was no longer one of them. Security officers followed her wherever she went, and the council ordered that all her research logs be confiscated for safety reasons. Tarasha did not argue. She only watched them in silence, her glowing eyes calm but unreadable. Deep inside, she could feel the warmth pulsing stronger than ever. It no longer burned, it hummed, steady and alive like a new organ that had always been meant to exist. Captain Daniel was furious when he found out about the council's decision. "They're treating you like some kind of disease," he said. "You saved yourself, Tarasha. You didn't break." "I became something they do not understand," she replied. "And what they do not understand, they fear." Daniel frowned. "Then we'll make them understand. Show them it's not dangerous." But the council had already decided otherwise. They wanted control. A few nights later, Tarasha was summoned to the central lab. The chamber was surrounded by glass walls, filled with equipment and officials watching from behind the safety screens. The council leader, a tall, silver-skinned elder named Vareth, stood in the center. "Tarasha of the Third Ring," he began, "you have undergone a mutation caused by human exposure. For the protection of this station, we will attempt to reproduce the conditions of your transformation under observation." Tarasha's heart dropped. "You mean you want to repeat it on others?" "Yes," Vareth said coldly. "To isolate the effect and understand it. That is not safe," she warned. It was not just heat. It was connection. The human was part of it. Her words were ignored. Guards brought in 3 alien volunteers, their faces pale with fear. They were placed inside a new steam chamber, larger, reinforced, and heavily monitored. Daniel was forced to watch from behind the glass, his fists clenched. Tarasha pressed her hands against the control panel. "Stop this," she said. "Their bodies cannot endure it." The council leader gestured for the temperature to rise. "Begin." Steam flooded the chamber, hissing through the vents. The aliens inside gasped immediately. Their skin began to shimmer as the heat climbed higher. One collapsed within seconds. Another screamed, trying to tear off the sensors attached to his arms. The third fell to his knees, clutching his chest. "Lower the temperature," Daniel shouted. Vareth ignored him. "Hold it steady. We must reach the recorded threshold." "Threshold?" Tarasha repeated, horror in her voice. "You are killing them!" The alarms began to blare. One by one, the subjects collapsed completely. The door opened and medics rushed in, but it was too late. Tarasha could feel it. The stillness in the room, the silence that followed suffering. Vareth turned toward her, his tone still flat. "They were not strong enough," Tarasha's voice broke. "You have learned nothing." Vareth looked at her with disdain. "On the contrary, we learned that the human contamination cannot be controlled. You are proof of that. You will be contained and studied further." 2 guards stepped forward. Daniel moved instantly, standing between them and Tarasha. "If you touch her, You will be removed from this facility," Vareth interrupted. "Human interference ends now." Tarasha could feel her pulse rising again. The heat within her chest flared, her vision blurring with light. When one of the guards grabbed her arm, her body reacted instinctively. A surge of energy burst from her skin, blinding, hot, and invisible. The entire chamber trembled. Screens flickered. Lights exploded, and every sensor in the room overloaded. The guards were thrown back by the blast, smoke curling from their armor. Vareth staggered, shielding his face. Daniel reached her side, grabbing her shoulders. "Tarasha, stop. You're burning the entire system." Her breath came fast and uneven. The heat inside her body was out of control. She fell to her knees, shaking. The glow under her skin pulsed brighter, until suddenly it stopped. The light faded and the silence returned. Daniel lifted her face gently. "Are you okay?" She nodded weakly. "Yes, but they will not stop now." He looked around. The council members were already retreating, shouting orders. Security drones rolled into the lab, scanning the air. "We need to go," he said firmly. "Right now." They escaped through the maintenance corridors, moving quickly through the narrow tunnels where the cameras did not reach. The alarm spread across the station, echoing through every deck. Tarasha's body trembled, not from fear, but from the strange energy still flickering inside her. "They will destroy everything," she whispered. "They believe heat is infection. They will purge it all." Daniel stopped and turned to her. "Then we'll find somewhere safe. Somewhere they can't touch you." She looked at him confused. "Why would you help me? I am not human." He smiled softly. "No, but you're more human than most of them now." For the first time, Tarasha did not correct him. She followed as he led her through a service hatch that opened into the ship hangar. The air smelled of metal and smoke. Rows of small research shuttles waited silently under dim lights. Daniel quickly unlocked one. "This one's not tracked," he said. "We can use it." Tarasha hesitated. "If you help me, they will call you traitor." "Then we'll both be traitors," he said. She climbed aboard. The engines hummed softly as the hangar doors opened, revealing the endless void beyond. As they lifted off, the station lights flickered in the distance. Alarms, searchlights, chaos. Tarasha looked out the window, watching the cold stars blur into streaks. She placed a hand over her chest, feeling the warmth within her still burning. "They feared what they could not understand," she murmured. "But this is not destruction." Daniel glanced at her. "Then what is it?" She smiled faintly. "It is change." The ship vanished into the darkness, leaving behind the station that once tried to control her. And somewhere deep inside the silence of space, the first heartbeat of something new echoed, a warmth that would not fade. The stolen shuttle drifted through the dark silence of space, a tiny spark of light swallowed by the endless void. Tarasha sat near the viewport, her eyes fixed on the glowing stars ahead. Her body still pulsed faintly, her skin warm against the cold cabin air. Daniel sat beside her, running diagnostics on the control panel, trying to stabilize the engines that trembled from the sudden escape. For hours, neither of them spoke. The hum of the ship filled the silence until Daniel finally sighed. "They'll be looking for us by now. The council won't let this go. They will call me unstable," Tarasha said softly. "They will say I lost control." "Did you?" he asked. She turned her head slowly toward him. Her glowing eyes reflected the dim cockpit lights. "No, it was not control that I lost, it was fear." Daniel studied her for a moment. She seemed different again. Her voice had more weight now, her posture more human than before. He had seen fear, confusion, even anger in her before, but now there was something new. Conviction. The shuttle's alarm blinked red. "Plasma storm approaching," the computer warned. Daniel cursed under his breath. Of course. Just what we need. He started flipping switches, trying to divert power to the shields. Outside the viewport, waves of orange and blue lightning spread across the black sky like veins of living fire. Tarasha leaned forward, her hands gripping the console. "That storm? It feels alive." "That's one way to put it," Daniel muttered. "If we go through, it'll tear the ship apart." Tarasha's gaze deepened. "Then let me try something." Before he could stop her, she stood and placed her hands on the wall of the ship. The metal under her palms began to glow faintly. "Tarasha, what are you doing?" Daniel demanded. "Listen," she said calmly. "The heat that changed me, it is still inside. Maybe I can use it." The ship rocked violently as the first plasma wave struck. Sparks burst from the ceiling. Daniel grabbed the control stick, trying to keep them steady. "If you're going to do something, do it fast." Tarasha closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed, steady and deliberate. The warmth within her chest spread outward, filling her limbs, rising through her veins. The hum of the ship began to match the rhythm of her heartbeat. Outside, the plasma clouds surged closer, glowing brighter than any sun. And then, as if the ship itself responded to her touch, the walls began to shimmer. A soft orange light spread through the metal. The alarm stopped. The turbulence eased. Daniel looked around in disbelief. What did you do? Tarasha's voice was faint but steady. I connected. The energy outside, it is like the steam. It is heat but not meant to destroy. It can live with us if we accept it. Daniel stared out the window. The plasma storm now flowed around them like a living river, wrapping the shuttle in soft light. Instead of tearing the hull apart, the energy danced around it, harmless, beautiful. You're controlling it, he whispered. Not controlling, she corrected. Listening. As minutes passed, the ship glided smoothly through the heart of the storm. Tarasha's body glowed brighter, her skin almost translucent with light. She could feel everything. The ship, the storm, the pulse of Daniel's heart beside her. It was as if the entire universe had become one long, warm breath, but the effort drained her. When the shuttle finally broke free of the plasma cloud, Tarasha stumbled and nearly collapsed. Daniel caught her before she fell. Her skin burned hot under his hands. Hey, easy, he said softly. You're burning up, she smiled weakly. The energy is part of me now. It does not harm me, but it takes strength to balance it. Daniel guided her to a seat and handed her water. She drank slowly, her glowing eyes dimming slightly. You just saved us, he said. Again. She looked at him with quiet sincerity. No, Daniel. You saved me first. Without you, I would have never known what warmth truly is. He laughed softly, shaking his head. You make it sound poetic. She tilted her head. Humans say poetry is how they explain what cannot be measured. Perhaps I am learning that. Outside, the storm was fading behind them. The vastness of space stretched on, calm and endless. But as Daniel checked the radar, his smile vanished. They're tracking us. The Council's ships, they're close. Tarasha looked over his shoulder. Several blips flashed on the screen, closing in fast. They will not stop, she said. They think I am dangerous. Daniel's jaw tightened. Then we make a stand. No, she said quietly. If I fight, more will die. I must show them the truth another way. What way? Tarasha placed her hand over her heart. By giving them what they fear most. Before Daniel could reply, she stood and walked toward the rear of the ship. Her glow intensified again, filling the cabin with light. The control systems flickered as her warmth spread through the metal. The approaching ships began firing, energy beams streaking through the darkness. One hit the shuttle's side, rocking it violently. Daniel shouted her name, but Tarasha did not answer. She was deep in concentration, her energy building like a star ready to be born. Through the front window, Daniel saw something impossible. The plasma storm they had left behind was moving again. Toward them. The clouds twisted and expanded, drawn by her power. Within seconds, it surrounded the ship once more, creating a massive barrier of burning light between them and the attacking fleet. The enemy ships tried to break through, but the storm absorbed their blasts like rain into fire. The heat was too much. Their systems began to fail one by one. Tarasha finally opened her eyes. They glowed like molten gold. It listens to me now, she whispered. It listens to us. Daniel could only stare as the fleet retreated, leaving the storm behind. The shuttle floated unharmed in a sea of light. Tarasha's body dimmed slowly until the glow faded into a gentle warmth. She turned to him, her voice soft but steady. The fire within is not a curse, she said. It is life itself, waiting to be understood. Daniel nodded, unable to find words. For the first time in his life, he felt that humanity was not alone. In that quiet moment, surrounded by glowing clouds and silence, the alien and the human sat side by side, united by something neither of their worlds could explain. The plasma storm drifted away like a curtain of light pulling back into the void, leaving the small shuttle floating in the calm after the chaos. Inside, Tarasha sat near the viewport, her breathing slow, her eyes faintly glowing with the last traces of the storm's power. The silence in the cockpit was deep and endless, broken only by the faint hum of the ship's damaged engines. Daniel leaned back in his chair, exhausted, but still watching her. He had seen many things in his life, wars, disasters, miracles, but nothing compared to what he had just witnessed. The storm had listened to her. The fire that should have destroyed them had obeyed her. You're quiet, he said finally, his voice low. Tirasha didn't turn her head. I'm listening. To what? To the silence, she said softly. It is different now. I can feel the warmth in it. Daniel smiled faintly. You sound like a human philosopher now. Maybe, she said, a small spark of amusement in her voice. Maybe I am becoming one. They floated for hours before Daniel found his voice again. The council will not give up, he said. They saw what happened. You scared them. Yes, Tirasha replied. But fear fades. Curiosity returns. They will come again, not to capture but to question, or to destroy, Daniel muttered. She looked at him then, her glowing eyes calm and steady. Then I must show them there is nothing to destroy, only something to learn. A sudden beeping broke the quiet. The long-range scanner had picked up incoming signals, multiple ships approaching. Daniel checked the readings, his stomach tightening. It's them. The council fleet. He moved to the controls, ready to power up the engines, but Tirasha's hand touched his arm. No running, she said. Not this time. Tirasha, they'll fire on sight. Let them, she said quietly. I will not hide from what I am. The glow in her body began to build again. Faint at first, then stronger, until the entire cockpit shimmered with soft light. Daniel shielded his eyes as her skin shifted from pale blue to molten gold. She looked almost human now, alive, radiant, powerful. When the fleet surrounded the shuttle, the council's communication link opened automatically. A stern voice filled the cabin. This is Commander Vareth of the council. Tirasha of the Third Ring, surrender yourself. You have violated every code of biological safety. You are to be taken into custody immediately. Tirasha stepped forward, calm and fearless. Commander Vareth, she said. Do you fear me so much that you must hide behind weapons? You are unstable, Vareth replied coldly. You carry contamination that could spread. We cannot risk it. Then look at me, Tirasha said. She turned on the external cameras, projecting her image onto every screen in the fleet. Her face filled the command bridge, glowing faintly, her eyes clear and bright. Does this look like corruption? She asked. Or does it look like life finding a new form? Vareth hesitated. The silence that followed was heavy. Every alien officer on the bridge stared at her image, unable to speak. I was one of you, she continued. Cold, careful, controlled. I believed that safety was perfection. But I was wrong. The humans showed me that warmth is not weakness. It is balance. It is connection. Daniel watched her, his chest tightening. Her voice carried across the stars, steady and calm, yet filled with something deeper than logic, something human. Heat is not our enemy, she said. It is life itself. I felt it. I changed, yes, but not into something dangerous, into something whole. Vareth's face appeared on the comm screen, his expression tense. You destroyed a lab. You nearly killed your team. I reacted, Tirasha said, her tone unwavering, because I was treated like an object, not a being. You fear what you cannot control. But look beyond your fear. The humans do not run from pain. They learn from it. That is why they grow stronger. That is why they survive where others perish. Her hand lifted slowly. A faint shimmer spread across the screen, a glow that filled every viewing chamber of the fleet. You called the heat destruction. I call it creation. As she spoke, something incredible happened. The plasma storm that had followed them began to move again, drawn to her voice. From the darkness behind the shuttle, streams of glowing energy twisted and swirled, forming patterns like wings of light. The ships around them pulled back instinctively, their scanners unable to comprehend what they were seeing. Tirasha closed her eyes. The warmth flowed through her, not burning, not chaotic, but alive. The plasma bent and pulsed around her ship, wrapping it in a golden cocoon. And then, from the storm, small fragments of energy drifted out, settling gently on the damaged council vessels. Where the fragments touched, something miraculous happened. Cracks in their hulls sealed, burned panels cooled and repaired. Dying engines flickered back to life. The fleet that had come to destroy her was now being healed by the very thing they feared. Vareth watched in silence, speechless. What are you doing? Tirasha smiled faintly. Showing you that fire does not only consume, it restores. The energy around the ships faded slowly, leaving a quiet stillness in its place. For a long time, no one spoke. Then, one by one, the council ships lowered their weapons. Vareth's voice came back softer now. Tirasha of the Third Ring, he said slowly. What are you asking of us? Nothing, she said. Only to see, only to feel, only to remember that we were not meant to live in cold perfection forever. The communication ended. The fleet began to retreat, silent and unsure. Tarasha sank back into her seat, her glow dimming to a soft warmth. Daniel exhaled the breath he had been holding. "You did it," he whispered. "You changed their minds." "Not their minds," she said quietly. "Their hearts," he smiled, shaking his head. "You sound more human than I do." "Perhaps," she said. "But I think the truth is that you are more alien than you believe. We are not so different, Daniel.